What kind of family dinner ends with your mother-in-law demanding your most treasured heirloom in front of a stunned table, only for your security team to swoop in like a scene from a thriller? That's exactly what happened to me, Catherine Thompson, at the Carlton Hotel's gilded private dining room, where the Montgomery family's polished veneer hid a calculated power play. At 35, I thought I knew the boundaries of my marriage into Philadelphia's elite. But that night, as the emerald necklace at my throat pulsed with my grandmother's legacy, I realized the true cost of my compliance and the strength it would take to reclaim my identity. It was April 2025, and we were gathered to celebrate Howard Montgomery's 75th birthday, a milestone for my imposing father-in-law. The Carlton's chandelier cast a soft glow over the table, where 6 pairs of eyes, my husband Richard, his parents Howard and Vivian, and his sisters with their husbands, fixed on me as the waiter served our main course. Vivian, her Chanel suit as impeccable as her smile, chose that moment to strike. "Catherine, darling," she said, her voice honeyed but sharp, "that emerald necklace is far too grand for a family dinner. It belongs in the Montgomery vault, where it can be properly protected." The 5 Colombian emeralds, set in platinum with diamond accents, were my grandmother Elena Thompson's pride, purchased with her first profits from Thompson Enterprises, the import business she'd built into a global empire. She'd called it her strength stone, placing it around my neck before her death with a whisper, "Never let anyone dim your light, Catherine." Richard shifted beside me, avoiding my gaze. "Mother's right, Kate," he murmured. "The vault's security is better than our home safe." His words stung, a betrayal cloaked in practicality. For 3 years I'd navigated the Montgomery maze, surrendering my vibrant wardrobe, my career focus, my friendships, to fit their mold. But this necklace was different. It wasn't just jewelry. It was my heritage, a tangible link to the woman who'd raised me after my parents' death. "The necklace isn't Montgomery property, Vivian," I said quietly, my fingers brushing the central emerald. "It's the Thompson family legacy bought by my grandmother." Vivian's smile didn't waver, but her eyes hardened. "Catherine, dear, when you married Richard, you became a Montgomery. Your possessions are part of our legacy now." Howard nodded sagely. "Family tradition, Catherine. All valuables go to the vault." Richard's whisper, "Kate, don't make this difficult," crushed any hope of his support. The table's silence was heavy, the Montgomerys unaccustomed to defiance in their curated world. My hand slipped under the table to my platinum bracelet, a CEO's gift to myself, its discreet panic button a precaution Elena had insisted on for Thompson executives. I'd never used it, but as Vivian's outstretched hand, adorned with Montgomery diamonds, loomed like a demand for my soul, I pressed the button twice, our code for a non-violent emergency. "I won't be surrendering the necklace, Vivian," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. "Not today, not ever." Howard's face flushed. "Now see here, young lady," Richard cut in, urgent. "Kate, you're embarrassing us." Vivian's composure slipped, her tone icy. "This defiance is unacceptable, Richard. Tell your wife to comply." Before he could, the dining room door opened, and 3 suited figures entered, Maria Diaz, my head of security, leading the way. "Ms. Thompson," she said formally, "you activated your alert. Is everything all right?" The Montgomery's shock was almost comical. Their world of garden parties and subtle maneuvers was unprepared for such direct intervention. Howard sputtered, "This is a private dinner!" Maria ignored him, her focus on me. "Ma'am, your instructions?" In that moment, I felt the emerald's warmth, as if Elena were urging me to choose my battle. "Thank you, Maria," I said. "There's been an attempt to coerce my property. I'm leaving now, with your escort." As I stood, the necklace gleamed, a beacon of the fight ahead. Have you ever walked away from a moment that shattered your reality, only to find the pieces revealing a truth you'd ignored for years? That's what I felt, Catherine Thompson, at 35, as I left the Carlton Hotel's suffocating elegance, my security team guiding me through Philadelphia's cool April night, 2 miles to safety. The emerald necklace at my throat, my grandmother Elena's legacy, had sparked a confrontation that exposed the Montgomery family's relentless control, not just over my jewelry, but over my identity, my company, my life. As I stepped into Thompson Enterprises' towering headquarters, I wasn't just escaping. I was beginning to unravel a calculated takeover that would demand every ounce of my courage to reclaim what was mine. Maria Diaz, my head of security and once Elena's bodyguard, drove the armored SUV with quiet efficiency, covering the 5 miles to our waterfront headquarters in minutes. The Montgomery's shocked faces lingered in my mind. Vivian's cracked composure, Richard's incredulous stare, Howard's flushed anger. For 3 years, I'd bent to their will. My vibrant dresses swapped for beige elegance, my CEO role at Thompson Enterprises reduced to charity galas, my Mexican heritage dismissed as too ethnic for their circles. But the necklace, 5 emeralds Elena had worn to every major deal, was non-negotiable. "Your strength isn't in avoiding confrontation," she'd told me, her voice echoing as we pulled into the private garage. "It's in choosing which battles matter." The 22-story glass building, commissioned by Elena 15 years ago, stood as a testament to her vision. Sustainable, vibrant, alive with natural light. The night guard straightened as I approached the executive elevator. "Welcome back, Ms. Thompson," he said, his use of my maiden name a subtle nod. My office on the top floor was unchanged. Vibrant art from our heritage, a 6-foot glass desk, Elena's motto, "Trade builds bridges between worlds," framed by the door. Yet dust in the corners betrayed my absence. My time here dwindled by Richard's efficient consolidation to Montgomery offices. I ran my fingers over the desk, the emeralds warm against my skin, as if urging me to wake from a 3-year trance. Maria stood by the door, her suit impeccable. "The executive computer requires your fingerprint and passcode, Ms. Thompson. Would you like privacy?" I nodded, grateful for her perceptiveness. "Yes, but stay close." Alone, I activated Elena's advanced security protocols, my biometric credentials granting access to Thompson Enterprises systems. What I found over the next 3 hours left me reeling. Email filters redirected critical communications to Richard's account. Board meeting minutes showed my attendance at sessions I'd never seen, scheduled during Montgomery family obligations, which Vivian deemed non-negotiable. My digital signature appeared on documents approving reorganizations that shifted key personnel to subsidiaries, installing Montgomery allies. Financial thresholds had been lowered, requiring approvals from Montgomery-tied advisors. It was a meticulous dismantling of my authority, executed with chilling precision. "Oh, Elena," I whispered, touching the necklace. "I've let them unravel everything you built." The shame of my complicity stung. Each compromise, each reasonable concession had eroded my power. I'd mistaken control for care, manipulation for partnership. Yet as shock gave way to fury, determination took root. As the majority shareholder, I still held legal authority. Maria re-entered, her demeanor softened. "Ms. Thompson, it's nearly midnight. Your husband has called 17 times. Montgomery vehicles are at your residence 10 miles away." I straightened, the emeralds catching the city lights through the panoramic windows. "I'm not returning to the Montgomery estate tonight, Maria. Secure accommodations at the Warwick, 3 miles from here. It's neutral ground." She nodded, unsurprised. "The presidential suite is prepared. I've maintained contingency plans, as Elena expected." Her words sparked hope. "What plans?" Maria's professional mask slipped slightly. "Elena made me promise to watch over you. She built safeguards into the company, secure servers, biometric locks, and loyal staff. She anticipated storms, even from within your marriage." I leaned back, stunned. Elena had seen the Montgomery's acquisition patterns long before I had, her immigrants' wisdom outpacing their old money arrogance. "Maria, who accesses Elena's private files?" "Only you, Ms. Thompson. They require your biometrics, non-delegable." Richard requested access repeatedly, but we held firm. A small victory, but significant. "I need those files immediately," I said, "and our legal team at dawn." As we left for Warwick, the emeralds gleamed, no longer just Elena's strength stones, but mine. A reminder that the fight to reclaim my legacy had just begun. What do you do when the family you married into tries to seize your life's work, and their shadows linger just miles away, waiting to pull you back. At 35, I, Catherine Thompson, stood in the Warwick Hotel's presidential suite, 3 miles from the Montgomery-controlled chaos, my grandmother's emerald necklace a steady pulse against my skin. After uncovering their fraudulent takeover of Thompson Enterprises, I wasn't just fighting for my company, I was fighting for the woman Elena Thompson raised me to be. As dawn broke over Philadelphia in April 2025, I began building a counteroffensive, leveraging Elena's hidden safeguards to reclaim my authority before the Montgomerys could tighten their grip. The Warwick suite, secured by Maria Diaz, my head of security, was a sanctuary of sleek mahogany and cream linens, its floor-to-ceiling windows framing the city's skyline. My phone buzzed incessantly, Richard's 23rd call, unanswered, his voicemails escalating from concern to veiled threats. "Kate, you're making a mistake," his latest hissed. "Return home or there'll be consequences." Maria, stationed by the door, reported Montgomery vehicles still circling my residence, 10 miles away, their persistence a stark reminder of their reach. But Elena's foresight had given me an edge. "Maria," I said, my voice firm, "access Elena's private files. We're looking for Project Phoenix." Her eyes flickered with recognition. "Yes, ma'am, I'll retrieve the secure drive." The files, locked behind my biometrics, revealed Elena's brilliance, a contingency plan named after rebirth, designed for hostile takeovers. Project Phoenix outlined steps to isolate threats, convene an emergency board meeting, suspend compromised members, and activate international protocols to protect assets. It listed trusted allies, including Janet Chen, our Harvard-trained general counsel, whose loyalty Elena had secured decades ago. I dialed Janet, waking her at 5 a.m. "Catherine," she said, her voice sharp despite the hour, "I've been waiting for this call." Maria briefed me. "What's the damage?" I summarized the fraud, redirected emails, falsified minutes, and Montgomery installed operatives. "It's a coup, Janet. I need you to draft motions to suspend their allies and restore my authority. We meet the board at 8 a.m. Janet's response was immediate. "I'll have the documents ready. We'll use your majority shareholder status to lock them out legally." As she worked, I studied Elena's notes, handwritten in the margins. "Strength is preparation, Catherine. They'll underestimate you. Use it." The emeralds at my throat seemed to hum, their green fire a reminder of her faith in me. Maria returned with a secure laptop, confirming Warwick's neutrality. No Montgomery ties in its ownership or staff. "Your husband's lawyers contacted the office," she added. "They're demanding access to your files." I smiled thinly. "They'll get nothing." "Schedule a call with Richard for 6:30 a.m. Let's hear his next move." When Richard's call came, his tone was a mix of exasperation and authority, a Montgomery air unaccustomed to resistance. "Kate, this is childish. You're the CEO in name, but Montgomery Holdings runs the show. Come home, and we'll sort this privately." I leaned into the speakerphone, my voice cold. "Richard, I've seen the falsified minutes, the redirected emails. You've been stealing my company. That ends now." His pause was telling, followed by a scoff. "You're out of your depth, Kate. Our lawyers will bury you." I ended the call, my resolve hardened. "Maria, ensure Janet's team has full access to the evidence. We're going to the boardroom." As we prepared to leave, I caught my reflection in the suite's mirror. The emeralds gleaming, my posture no longer the compliant daughter-in-law, but the CEO Elena had groomed. The Warwick was 3 miles from Thompson Enterprises, a short drive to reclaim my ground. I emailed the board, invoking my authority for an emergency session, and contacted Richard Thompson, Elena's cousin in our London office, to rally international support. "We're with you, Catherine," he replied, his voice warm with Elena's cadence. The Montgomerys thought they'd cornered me, but Elena's safeguards, her files, her allies, her vision, were my arsenal. As Maria drove us toward headquarters, I felt the weight of the emeralds, not as a burden, but as a call to battle, my counteroffensive ready to strike. Can you imagine facing down a family dynasty in your boardroom, their smug confidence crumbling as you turn their trap against them? That's where I found myself, Catherine Thompson, at 35, in Thompson Enterprises' sleek boardroom, the 20-foot walnut table, a battleground where my grandmother's legacy would either stand or fall. On that April 2025 morning in Philadelphia, the Montgomerys arrived, expecting to intimidate me. But with Elena's safeguards and my allies by my side, I was ready to reclaim my company's soul. The emerald necklace at my throat burned with resolve, a silent vow to honor the woman who'd built this empire, and to never bend again. The lobby of our 22-story headquarters buzzed with tension as the Montgomerys swept in. Howard, his silver hair as imposing as his scowl, Richard, his jaw tight with unease, and their attorneys clutching briefcases like shields. I stood by the glass elevators, flanked by Janet Chen, her tailored blazer as sharp as her legal mind, and Maria Diaz, whose quiet presence deterred any physical overreach. The Montgomerys had underestimated me, assuming my absence from daily operations meant weakness. But Elena's Project Phoenix had armed me with evidence and strategy, and today I'd wield both. "Ms. Thompson," Janet murmured, handing me a tablet. "The board's assembled. Our motions are airtight." I nodded, the emeralds catching the lobby's light. "Let's end this." The boardroom's floor-to-ceiling windows framed the Delaware River, a reminder of Thompson Enterprises' global reach. 12 board members sat around the table, their expressions a mix of curiosity and unease. Sophia Kwan, a former Wharton dean and independent director, nodded subtly, her support secured via Elena's foresight. The Montgomerys took their seats, their attorneys spreading documents like a poker bluff. Howard spoke first, his voice booming. "Catherine, this tantrum has gone far enough. Your mismanagement threatens the company. Step aside and we'll stabilize operations." Richard chimed in, his tone patronizing. "Kate, you're not equipped for this. Let us handle it." I stood, my voice steady, amplified by the room's acoustics. "Howard, Richard, your confidence is misplaced. I've uncovered evidence of systematic fraud, falsified minutes, redirected communications, unauthorized restructurings, all benefiting Montgomery Holdings." Janet activated the boardroom screen, displaying intercepted emails and doctored approvals, each timestamp a nail in their coffin. Gasps rippled through the board. Sophia leaned forward, her gaze piercing. "Catherine, these are serious allegations. Can you substantiate them?" I met her eyes. "Every document is verified, Sophia. Our servers, secured by Elena's protocols, preserved the originals." Janet took the floor, her presentation relentless. "As majority shareholder, Ms. Thompson retains ultimate authority. We move to suspend 3 board members with Montgomery ties, pending investigation, and restore Ms. Thompson's full operational control." The Montgomery attorneys scrambled, one stammering, "This is irregular! You can't—" Sophia cut him off. "It's legal. I second the motion." The vote was swift. 9-3, the Montgomery allies outmaneuvered. Howard's face reddened. "You'll regret this, Catherine. Our influence in this city is unmatched." I leaned forward, the emeralds glinting. "Your influence is local, Howard. Thompson Enterprises operates in 47 countries. Our London, Singapore, and São Paulo teams stand with me." Richard Thompson, Elena's cousin, joined via video from London, his voice steady. "Catherine, our global staff supports your leadership. Elena built this company on integrity, not acquisition." His words, echoing Elena's ethos, silenced the room. Richard, my husband, tried one last plea. "Kate, think about our family. We can resolve this privately." I fixed him with a look, my voice cold. "You chose Montgomery Holdings over our marriage, Richard. This isn't personal, it's business." The board's approval of my motions was a formality, their signatures sealing the Montgomery allies' suspension. Maria's team escorted the attorneys out, Howard's threats. "You'll pay for this," fading down the hall. As the room cleared, Janet squeezed my arm. "You did it, Catherine. Elena would be proud." Sophia approached, her smile rare, but genuine. "You've reset the board's moral compass. We'll audit every Montgomery deal." Alone, I touched the necklace, its 5 emeralds, a constellation of Elena's wisdom. The Montgomerys had mistaken my silence for surrender, but this showdown was just the beginning. Their local power was no match for Thompson Enterprises' global reach, and I'd use every resource to protect what Elena built. The boardroom, once a place of my erasure, now echoed with my authority. the emeralds a testament to the legacy I'd fight to preserve. What happens when a family's old money influence collides with a world that's moved beyond their control, and you're the one rewriting the rules? At 35, I, Catherine Thompson, stood on Thompson Enterprises' rooftop garden terrace, a quarter-acre oasis above Philadelphia's skyline, the emerald necklace at my throat gleaming with defiance. In April 2025, after reclaiming my company's boardroom, I faced the Montgomerys' desperate counterattack, a legal injunction, and a smear campaign designed to crush me. But Elena Thompson's global vision and my commitment to transparency turned their escalation into my opportunity, expanding the battlefield to render their power obsolete. The morning after the boardroom victory, Janet Chen, my general counsel, met me in my office, her tablet flashing urgent alerts. Catherine, the Montgomerys secured a court injunction via Judge Harrington, a Montgomery ally. It freezes our U.S.-based assets pending a fraud investigation. Her tone was calm, but the stakes were clear. The Montgomerys, reeling from their boardroom loss, were leveraging Philadelphia's judicial old guard. I touched the emeralds, Elena's strength stones, and recalled her advice. When they block one path, build another. Janet, I said, activate our international accounts. Shift financial operations to London and Singapore. Elena's banking protocols are still in place, aren't they? Janet nodded. Fully operational. We'll have liquidity by noon. Maria Diaz entered, her expression taut. Ms. Thompson, the Montgomerys are escalating online. The Montgomery Foundation's social media is accusing you of mismanagement, with local influencers amplifying the narrative. I opened my laptop, seeing hashtags like Chicax Thompson failure trending, backed by polished videos questioning my competence. The Montgomery strategy was classic: control the local narrative, isolate me socially. But Thompson Enterprises wasn't just a Philadelphia firm. It spanned 47 countries. I turned to Janet. Release our evidence to global media. Frame this as a corporate governance crisis, not a family dispute. Contact the Wall Street Journal and Reuters. She was already typing. Done. I'll coordinate with our PR team in London. As Janet worked, Maria escorted me to the rooftop terrace for a scheduled meeting. The garden, Elena's design, bloomed with native wildflowers, its serenity a stark contrast to the brewing storm. Vivian Montgomery arrived alone, her silk scarf fluttering in the breeze, her smile a calculated olive branch. Catherine, let's talk woman to woman, she began, her voice smooth. This feud harms us all. Step back, let Richard lead, and keep your necklace as a gesture of goodwill. Her offer was a trap, her eyes betraying a flicker of disdain for my new money roots. I stepped closer, the emeralds catching the sunlight. Vivian, you don't want peace. You want control. You've underestimated me, and you've underestimated Thompson Enterprises. This ends on my terms. Vivian's mask slipped, her tone sharp. You're a naive girl playing a game you can't win. Philadelphia belongs to us. I smiled, unshaken. The world's bigger than Philadelphia, Vivian. My company trades in Shanghai, Nairobi, and Sao Paulo. Your influence stops at city limits. She left without a word, her departure a silent admission of her limits. Back in my office, I pivoted to offense. I accepted a keynote at the Wharton Global Business Ethics Symposium 2 miles away to share my story publicly. I also launched a town hall series inviting Philadelphia's diverse communities, entrepreneurs, students, immigrant leaders, to discuss ethical leadership, bypassing Montgomery's elite circles. Richard Thompson, Elena's cousin, called from London. Your transparency's working, Catherine. Elena used the community to build trust. You're her mirror. By evening, media reports shifted. The Wall Street Journal's headline, Thompson Enterprises exposes governance fraud, framed me as a reformer, not a rebel. Local support grew, with community leaders like Maria Alvarez, a small business owner, pledging to attend my town hall. The Montgomery's social media campaign faltered, their narrative drowned by global scrutiny. Maria updated me. Their foundation's scrambling, Ms. Thompson. They didn't expect you to go public. I leaned back, the emeralds warm against my skin. Elena had taught me that power wasn't in secrecy, but in connection. By opening the fight to the world, I'd turned the Montgomerys' escalation into my platform, their local influence fading against my global reach. Have you ever stood before a crowd, your story transforming from personal pain to universal truth, and felt the weight of your legacy shift into something new? At 35, I, Catherine Thompson, stepped onto the stage of the Franklin Institute's Grand Hall for the Wharton Global Business Ethics Symposium in April 2025, the emerald necklace at my throat a beacon of my grandmother Elena's vision. After dismantling the Montgomerys' takeover and countering their escalation, I was no longer just fighting for Thompson Enterprises. I was redefining leadership for a world craving authenticity. This keynote wasn't just a speech. It was my declaration of a legacy reclaimed, forged in transparency and resilience. The Grand Hall, 4 miles from Thompson Enterprises, hummed with energy, its vaulted ceiling amplifying the murmurs of 500 attendees, students, CEOs, academics, and community leaders. The stage, framed by crimson curtains, felt like a crossroads. I'd spent days crafting my speech, weaving the Montgomery conflict into a case study on power dynamics and ethical governance. As I adjusted the microphone, the emeralds caught the spotlight, their green fire a silent nod from Elena. "Good afternoon," I began, my voice steady. "I'm Catherine Thompson, CEO of Thompson Enterprises. Today, I'll share a story of invisible boundaries, reclaimed authority, and the courage to lead authentically." I recounted the dinner at the Carlton, framing Vivian's demand for my necklace as a metaphor for overreach. I detailed the fraud without naming the Montgomerys directly, focusing on how global systems, like Elena's safeguards, empowered resistance. "Leadership isn't control," I said. "It's creating space for truth, even when it's uncomfortable." The audience leaned in, their silence a testament to shared struggles. A student asked, "How do you face a powerful family without fear?" I touched the emeralds. "You find strength in what grounds you. My grandmother's legacy reminded me who I am." A CEO followed. "What's next for Thompson Enterprises?" I smiled. "We're launching a global ethics initiative, starting with Philadelphia's communities, to foster transparent leadership." Professor James Kim, the symposium's host, approached post-speech, his enthusiasm infectious. "Catherine, you've shifted the conversation. Students are already discussing your framework." Over coffee, attendees shared their stories. Immigrant entrepreneurs, young professionals, women navigating corporate games, each echoing my journey. Maria Alvarez, from my town hall, hugged me. "You've given us a voice, Catherine." The Montgomerys' absence was telling. Their local influence couldn't penetrate this diverse, merit-based arena. Media coverage amplified my message, with Forbes tweeting, "Thompson's keynote redefines corporate courage." Alone in the hall's quiet anteroom, I traced the necklace's 5 emeralds, each a chapter of my transformation. Elena had built Thompson Enterprises to bridge worlds, and I'd honored that by opening my fight to the public. The Montgomerys' power, rooted in secrecy and exclusivity, had crumbled against transparency and community. I wasn't the compliant daughter-in-law anymore, nor just a CEO. I was a leader who'd chosen vulnerability over control, connection over isolation. The emeralds, once Elena's strength stones, now symbolized many boundaries, consciously created, fiercely defended. As I left the hall, Philadelphia's skyline glowed, a canvas for the legacy I'd reclaimed, ready to lead Thompson Enterprises into a future Elena would have cheered.